Now let's go into another fun, positive thing here. That is a band. It's a band called Nefarious. New thrash band composed of a lot of great Bay Area thrash musicians. You have members, former members of Exodus and Heathen, Blind Illusion. You got members of Hyrax, Death Angel. I mean, a lot of great musicians involved with this band. They have a new single out called Nation Enslaved. So you got Rick Hunolt from Exodus, former Exodus guitar player, obviously. You have Doug Piercy, who played in Heathen and Blind Illusion. Kat DePena from Hyrax, which, by the way, as a side note, I haven't really listened to that band in a long time, but now that I know that Kat's in this band, I've actually been revisiting the back catalog of Hyrax. So I forgot how much I loved that band, actually. But you have some great musicians involved with this. So this new single comes out, Nation Enslaved, and it's being kind of hyped up as this like super group of musicians, veteran musicians from the Bay Area thrash scene. Folks, you know what usually happens when you hear of a super group? It usually in most cases means that the song and the album are probably going to get overhyped and it's going to be a disappointment. So upon listening to the song, my conclusion was basically this. This band is an exception to that rule, meaning that the song that they put out, Nation Enslaved, I think is absolutely phenomenal. And anytime I have these projects, I go in with, I really don't have a lot of expectations. I don't think it's going to be great. But man, I got to be honest with you folks. This band's debut single is absolutely fantastic. And you know what the best part about this song was? And when a band puts out a single, one of the ways that you know it resonates with you is if the melodies from the song stick in your head. So when I was listening to this, towards the middle of the song, there are some really kick-ass guitar harmonies that Rick Hunolt and Doug Piercy play in this song. And the melodies from those guitar harmonies stuck in my head. Before you go into the chorus, there's like a bridge section that Catton sings that stuck in the melodies that he sang there stuck in my head. And then I proceeded, since this single came out, to probably listen to it another 50 times. I could be honest with you. If I had to give you a list of bands that have kind of like an all-star lineup of veteran Bay Area thrash musicians or veteran musicians from any band for that matter. If I give you a list of bands that I absolutely loved that have come out with the, quote, all-star lineups, unquote, that list would be very short. And upon listening to this song, I'm pretty sure this band is going to be on that list. Now, they have an album that's going to come out, but when I hear this single and I listen to it 50 times, it just leaves me wanting more. It leaves me wanting to listen to this album. Like, I'm like extremely hyped up right about now over this. Like, I'm not even, when I heard this, I was like, man, this is great. Now, one of the comments, one of the negative comments about it, of course, is that it sounds like it's been done before and, it's nothing new. I've seen that comment floating around out there. I think any negative comments about it, that's what's being said, essentially. But folks, nobody's, these guys aren't reinventing the wheel here. They aren't doing anything that hasn't been done before. But that does not mean that the song is not good thrash metal. Classic Bay Area thrash/speed metal. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. These guys were actually part of the scene when it was up and coming. the guys in this band helped shape that scene. They really helped shape that scene in many ways. They were part of it. They were part of the many bands that came up in it. I mean, how Exodus is considered one of the very earliest thrash metal bands. I mean, I think Bonded by Blood was actually supposed to come out before it actually did. Heathen was kind of a latecomer. Death Angel was a latecomer. Phenomenal band, by the way. Blind Illusion was a big part of that scene in the Bay Area for quite a while, actually, in the 80s. So what I'm getting at is that just because it doesn't bring anything different that hasn't been done before as far as, the style of music, doesn't mean the song isn't good. Because I think the song is absolutely incredible. And I was, like I said, I was completely surprised and shocked about how amazing this track actually was. Because again, the expectations aren't very high. Most of these projects, they get overhyped. But this band, folks, it's a completely different ball game. So Nefarious is a band to check out. The name of the song is Nation Enslaved. I'm going to put it in the show notes, a link to it, because I think it's absolutely incredible. Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.